June with no air conditioning. So it was memorable for that reason. But I really do appreciate having the opportunity to serve on the advisory board. Thank you.
Once again, I'm Darren Mulhotra. I represent sort of the parent aspect. My son is a student here in middle school at KSB. And Carla, I know you've gotten emails from a few folks. On behalf of to the Board of Education, I want to thank you for the process. And I just feel like the family is complete now. We finally have 5 board members, which is really exciting. So welcome to the group. It's very exciting to have you here.
Thank you.
Peggy, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, I'm Peggy. I'm principal at KSB.
Hi, Carla and everybody. Janelle Turner. I am with OBR. And I'm not exactly sure which role I'm in. Community partner, maybe. So, welcome.
My name is Trisha Bonder. I'm the Director of Greater Mobile Education. We provide technical assistance to all those adults providing supports for students with disabilities, and I serve as the secretary for the meeting.
Okay, and you're going to need to speak up.
Okay.
Because that's not working.
Thank you. I will.
And to all of our viewers online.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not live, right?
It won't go live, so I'm recording it and I'll upload it right after.
We'll record and upload.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you get the volume is okay? Or you can't tell?
I can't
We'll
tell.
figure it out. Okay.
Fortunately, it's a quick setup.
Yeah, okay. Shelley?
Oh, hi, I'm Shelley Badgett, and I am the Director of Special Education for both of our state schools, KSB and KSB.
Hi, I'm Greta Hilton. I'm good to see you again, Carla. I serve as the Associate Commissioner in the Office of Special Education and Early Learning at the Department of Education.
Hi, I'm Shannon Starkman, and I am the Director of State Schools, Kentucky Department of Education.
John Aaron, Operations Manager for the Kentucky School for the Blind.
I'm Kenny Jones. I'm a guest, KSB alumni president, and 1978 graduate. And I was fortunate enough to graduate in air, the second class in the Ritchie Auditorium.
Nicole Gaines is also on the board, and she's not able to make the meeting today and wanted to send her regrets. Just a quick introduction.
Yep, no problem. Kirsten Bryce, I'm a teacher of visually impaired in the short course department. There's a test as well.
Okay. I want to make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes for May 15 of 2025. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Perfect. We have two motions or 2 notices to approve, so we'll consider those approved. Let me pass it over now to Peggy.
Okay, just to let you know the dorm update, I'm also going to do that. Mr. Blanton's unavailable due to some things going on with his mom, and then Dolly McLennan, who is going to report, her mother died on Tuesday, so she's not going to report. So I have all the updates for that. So I wanted to talk about our new staff. We're really excited because we actually hired a school psychologist. Her name's Jennifer Hutcherson, and she started on Monday. She's been a school psychologist for a good number of years, so very experienced. She's diving right into things, so we're really excited to have her. Amy Pierce is our new high school science teacher. She comes from Oldham County. She was a school counselor there, special ed teacher, has taught science previously, so she has a really wonderful background. And then Jessica Kamick is our new middle school MSD teacher. She was a paraprofessional here, and she's moved into the teaching position. And it's been a really smooth transition because we've had several kids move up from elementary to middle school, so she knows the kids. So we're excited to watch her grow. Student numbers, I believe we have 70 students. And a couple ARCs next week to talk about more possible new students. Numbers are going up, which is wonderful. We're excited. Openings. Oh, new staff. We also have. We started out the year with 4 paraprofessionals when we usually have 9. We have several leave to go on to become teachers and O&M specialists, which is wonderful for the field, but sad for us. So recently we had a new para start Monday, and it's doing fantastic. We have a former alumni who starts the end of next week as a para. So we're excited to have her on board, and then we have 2 others that will come on board in the next few weeks. So we're, as the paras, I think, have one of the hardest jobs. They work really hard. They're right in there with our kids. So what we've been doing is we've had teachers who might have had a planning period or an extra time, so teachers were coming in and kind of supporting as needed with the teachers, which was really nice to see. People were like, yeah, I'm happy to come in. Just jumped right in. So we have a lot of kiddos that need extra help. So our theme this year is grow through what you go through. We're kind of following on last year ours was growth mindset, so we're following up with grow through what you go through. And we had on opening day talked about what's called the happiness factor. We're having a big survey this year for teachers. Adam Springer, our librarian, is leading it, and it's all about kind of looking at a situation and how can you turn it into a half glass full instead of a half glass empty. And I do have to say that I feel like our opening teacher week and opening the school, they've been the smoothest in my years as principal here. And I was talking to somebody, and we were talking kind of about how, we know COVID's still out there, but it's kind of the COVID school mindset is not there anymore. And it's been a great start to the year. So I think that was all of my updates. Upcoming events, we have the Bill Roby Games at the end of September. That's our Junior Olympics for students in elementary. We'll have kids come from Ohio, Tennessee, sometimes Missouri, Indiana. And we're looking at doing that at the Norton Commons indoor track in the West End, because our track is still going through some repairs. So Connie Hill and Jess Belcher are kind of spearheading that, and that should be the end of September. And then in October we'll have our fall festival. And then the one thing that is, I'm happy for him but sad for the school, Mike Coffey is retired. So, I'm looking for an assistant principal. Anyone have any questions on the notes?
All right, let me hand it over for a facilities update.
Thank you. John Aaron, with the operations manager for the Kentucky School for the Blind. All right, as you can tell, we've had a lot going on over the years, and this last summer was a busy summer, and next year isn't going to be any different. Now, over the years, the heating and air conditioning systems of this campus it has been the Achilles heel of operations for this school. 2018, we replaced the heating and air conditioning systems in Hauser Dormitory, and in 2022, we replaced the rooftop units for the heating and air conditioning systems in Ritchie Auditorium and the Student Rec Center using COVID funds. Since then, we've moved on to capital funds for the remaining HVAC improvements. And part of that, the biggest part of that, is the installation of a geothermal system for heating and cooling of the 2 classroom buildings, Evans Dormitory and Hartford Food Service. So far on that project, what we have complete is the geothermal well field is complete, Hartford Food Service is complete, and Evans Dormitory is complete. Currently, they're going through the systems testing and balance, and that's to make sure that the system's operating efficiently, it's cooling the building, or heating and cooling the buildings properly. And the contractors are going through various punch list items, which are to correct deficiencies, repair damage done during construction, and so on. And we hope to have all that complete within the next 2 weeks. The athletic field is being resurfaced. They just had it regraded, and we're adding it. Well, we've uncovered a drain that's been there for who knows how long. But one problem is the athletic field would never drain properly, so we've uncovered this drain. They've just got it cleared out. So with the addition of the drain system, it'll help it drain properly. The water used to puddle almost right in the center of the track. And then the new long jump, triple jump, and shot put pits will be installed. The athletic field, the running track will be cleaned, and the whole site will be resodded. And we hope to have it open by October, weather permitting. Future upgrades that we have coming up from this fall on through next summer, and all of these will be complete by December of 2026. Is next summer the Scoggin and McDaniel classroom buildings will be connected to the geothermal, and at that point the steam boilers that we have in the maintenance building, they are disconnected, and eventually they will be demolished, but not under this project. That's a future project. We're going to add mini boiler systems for heating in Langen Gym, Hauser Dormitory. How these systems work is that they're basically like 2 small steam boilers in each building, and while one runs, the other one's on standby, so if one fails, the other one kicks on automatically. That way, the building won't go down for heat. Those will be installed, through the fall, through next summer, and those could be installed, and those won't disrupt anything going on with the students, or with the school, excuse me. Gregory Rec Center, we're going to add a heating and air conditioning unit for Gregory Gym. As I said before, the heating and air conditioning we replaced in the center area and in the bowling alley area. The gym itself has no heat or has no air conditioning; it just has steam heat. We're adding a system so we can have air conditioning and heat in that side of the building. Ritchie Auditorium. While we replaced all the rooftop units, the air handlers are still from their original installation in 1976, and those are going to be replaced as well. The Bagley Maintenance Building, we're going to add a series of mini splits, which are heating and air conditioning units for the offices on the top floor. The bottom floor, we're going to install a series of garage heaters for heat in the wintertime and ventilation fans just to provide some cooling in the summertime. As part of this project, we're also doing a series of electrical upgrades. Currently, our electrical system is basically a Frankenstein's monster of some original construction in the Scoggin classroom building from 1963. Our main connection off of Frankfurt Avenue for the power is so old, LG&E doesn't even have a record of the installation of it. So it could be 50s, could be 40s, we don't know, right? So a new power supply line is going to be added off of Frankfurt Avenue. We're adding new transformers to disperse our power distribution. That way, if one system goes down, it doesn't affect the majority of campus. New electrical distribution panels are going to be added to the Scoggin mechanical room, and there will be new power distribution lines added across campus. Also, as part of this project, next summer we're going to replace all the exterior windows in the Scoggin classroom building. Currently, those windows are from 1963. They're single pane tempered glass. And in order to get the geothermal system to operate as efficiently as possible, we're going to install, modern double pane windows. Other projects that we have on upcoming is that currently we have the new furniture for Evans Dormitory is being installed, and in the Charitable Foundation office, the ADA improvements are being implemented, which are the ADA accessible bathroom on the first floor and ADA ramp on the front entrance. Projects that we have upcoming are the KSB greenhouse. That project's currently out for bid. And finally, the bowling alley, right? One of the longest projects I've had to deal with. The bowling alley has been approved, and we're waiting for feedback from the vendor to schedule a pre-construction meeting, and then we'll kick that project off. I'd like to get that kicked off here either by the end of August, by the end of September or October. And then other projects we have going on, exterior door repairs. We've replaced all the exterior doors on the rec center building, and we're going to replace the exterior doors on the maintenance building. Currently, one of the reasons why is we moved the security guard station from the maintenance building over to Ritchie Auditorium. They can do a better job maintaining the campus there. However, those doors in the maintenance building, they're just like full glass doors. We're going to replace them with commercial grade metal doors. And also, finally, the lighting upgrades in the Scotty McDaniel classroom building. This summer, we replaced all of the lighting. The lighting that we had before, it dated. Some of it was from the original construction in 1963 to various upgrades to the 1980s. We replaced the lighting system with an LED system that is dimmable, and we can adjust the color, either the warmer lights or cooler lights, all depending upon student needs. And we just got that system online. There's some bugs that need to work out, but we'll get that taken care of through the school year. And then Ritchie Auditorium, we've installed new LED lights in the auditorium and backstage area, and they're all dimmable and they can be controlled remotely. And that's all I've got. Are there any questions?
I had 2 questions. The first, you mentioned doors being replaced. When I think of doors, I think of security. So I'm just curious, were the old doors a security concern as well? And
yes.
Can you speak to maybe security regarding the new doors?
Yeah, like in the down in the maintenance building, they're like the storefront type doors, they're full glass doors. I mean, they're safety glass and stuff like that. But since we moved the security guards out of there, I want to replace them with full metal, like the type of door that we have on these structures right here. Because my concern is that even with the security guards there's always a risk of someone taking a rock, smashing a window, doing a snatch and grab in that building, because we have about hundreds of thousands of dollars in tools and equipment in there. So that's why we're going to replace those.
Second question was, I know last summer you had to pull off a miracle to get summer school to happen in a way in an environment here, and are there any concerns with regards to next summer that will be happening again, or is there anything that we could do proactively this year?
So I think next summer we'll have access to Evans Dorm, which will help immensely. This summer we only had access to Hauser and Ritchie building, and it was, I mean, we had to move everything out of the classroom buildings, all the furniture was moved out, everything. So I think, definitely knowing what we learned last year, we can apply, that, and then we'll have access to Evans Dorm, which will be a huge help.
Yeah, this facility will be open too. So really, right now, I mean, it all depends on when they want to do the air handlers in Ritchie Auditorium. Right now, we're going to lose the classroom buildings, but all the other facilities will be available.
That's good. I mean, I guess it sounds to me like failing anything extraordinary, you guys are really positive. Okay. Any other questions? Thanks for that report. It's an incredible amount of work, and it's exciting to go into a building. I get to see the benefits and don't have to worry about how hard it was to do it. To get to go to a concert it's really impressive.
Yes.
If you don't mind if I add, I'd really like to give a shout out to John and his team, because they worked themselves to the bone this summer, moving stuff out. We got some people to come in to move furniture back in, but I mean, his folks worked incredibly hard, moving all the furniture out, getting things ready. Came in on, we all came in on weekends and just trying to get stuff ready, because the priority was to get school ready for kids, and they worked.
Yeah, the housekeeping crew really.
They were fantastic.
Yeah, they really stepped up. Like they literally worked 2 weekends in a row. So it's basically 3 weeks straight. 10, 12-hour days just to get everything ready for the for the kiddos to come back.
Thank you so much. All right, Peggy. I think you were going to do the student life report.
Yes. So in your newsletter, or in your folder, I put a copy of the dorm newsletter. It was posted on Facebook as well. They're going to send it out to dorm families. And it has a couple pictures on it. It has a picture of all the staff and then a picture of two little boys in a we have a bouncy house, and so the two little boys are laughing and smiling in the bouncy house. So currently we have 22 students in the dorm, and again that goes up a little bit when we have short course kids coming, depending on how many we have. We have 7 elementary students and 15 middle school, high school students. So we have a pretty big group of elementary. This is the biggest group we've had since I've been principal. So they're doing a lot of off-campus trips. Like the beginning of the year, they went to Walmart for students to get things that they needed for the dorm, like shampoo, personal hygiene things, if they wanted to decorate with something. And they work a lot on the expanded core curriculum skills, so planning, budgeting, making a list of items, maybe asking for, self-determination, asking for help in Walmart. They go out to eat off and on, and they work on, ordering from a menu, paying for items, and keeping the receipts to figure out, how much money they spent, how much money they have left. Life skills for the older students. They have kids working towards getting in the independent living program and transitioning from high school to their home community. So they're working really hard on those, different skills to help prepare the kids. They did take the kids to the state fair this week. After school, they took elementary one day and then took middle and high school the next day. And so the kids had a lot of fun, and but they didn't. I don't know if you know about the pickle guy at the state fair. They did not go to the pickle table, as was reported to me by the elementary group. So they all went if we don't like pickles. So the dorm, they work closely with I think one of the Lions clubs, East End maybe, or down. I don't know if downtown. They work closely with Lions clubs. They have some mentors that came into the dorm last year, and I think they're going to start coming in again. Some former alumni. Deanna Scoggins comes in quite a bit and meets with the kids. And they have I don't know if it's a homework club, but they have a time for homework. When the kids come from the dorm, they get a snack, and if they need homework help, they get help with that. But yeah, they really. They had, this year they did something a little different. On Friday before registration, they invited parents to come if they were able to go ahead and bring stuff to the dorm and kind of pre-register before the huge onslaught on that Sunday. So I think they had 5 or 6 families that came ahead of time and were able to bring stuff to the dorm and get their medical paperwork set, and I think that we'll continue to do that again next year.
The vibes feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's impressive, and that's a big number of kids. 22, that's a lot.
Yep.
My son, every time we get in a bit of a tiff, which he's 14, which is 10 times a day, he threatens to say that he wants to move to the dorm. I don't see that as a threat. I may actually listen. I think my wife wants me to go as well. Maybe, you guys do, parents?
We have openings.
Could I maybe?
First shift openings.
Okay, thank you for that update. Shannon, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay. I just have a couple of updates. On August 7th, the Kentucky Board of Education had approved our annual policy update. And we partner through the Kentucky School Board Association for the model policy services, like most of the districts across the state. So those are updated annually after the legislative session to reflect any laws that have been passed. So those were approved. As part of that, along with Senate Bill 181, in your folders, there's the copy of the approved traceable communication system. So this is a system where we have to be able to provide the traceable communication, anything as far as staff or volunteers with students, that has to be, allow for the, internal controls and resources to be able to get that to parents upon request. And that has to be approved by the Kentucky Board of Education. So this is the current approved system, and it charts out, this includes both schools, but it charts out the school, the platform, the account holders, the purpose, and then just a few notes from there as well. We'll continue to work with leadership at each school in case there are any additional needs or platforms that we need to look into. But we'll have to bring those back to the Kentucky Board of Education for approval before we would be allowed to start those. And then the last thing is that we have a professional development opportunity, and it's funded through OSEAL. So Peggy, Dr. Petrie, Shelley, and myself and Emma are going to be visiting a couple of state schools. So we will be traveling actually Monday, so next week will be a very busy week. We will be flying to Iowa to visit the Iowa School for the Deaf. And from there we'll go on to Washington State, and we'll visit the School for the Blind and the School for the Deaf. And the way this came about, when we started talking about being able to connect and build relationships with other schools across the country, both principals were asked to identify a school of choice. And Peggy had identified Washington. She was very interested in their transition program. So that's going to be our focus. So we actually have a very busy week. So we fly out Monday.
Sunday.
I fly Monday. Well, I fly the 25th. There's a bunch of us going, so we're not all leaving from the same destination. But I fly out Monday. Tuesday we visit the School for the Deaf in Iowa. That afternoon we fly on. The next day we visit both schools, and then the following day we fly back. So it is a very, very quick and very filled trip as far as being on the go. But we're excited about the opportunity to learn from the other schools and collaborate with them. So I just wanted to share that as well.
I think that's why Monday.
It's been a long couple weeks.
Yeah.
And everything all set for a new school year. It's definitely, there's been a lot going on. So
Well,
yeah.
You'll bring back a report for the next meeting.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then any pictures or I don't know, something to share. I think that would be great.
Okay.
So, are the schools in the capital? Are they in Des Moines and Tacoma, or what?
No, Council Bluffs, the School for the Deaf in Iowa is Council Bluffs,
Okay.
so we're actually flying into Nebraska. They no longer have a center-based school for the blind. It was in Benton and it's closed, but they have outreach.
Okay.
And then the school in Washington State is in Vancouver, so we're actually flying to Portland.
Okay.
We're excited. It'll be a busy week. It'll be wonderful.
May I ask may I ask a question to your team? There was a audit that went out July 1 that we were passed a copy of, and our team, the advisory board, had a chance to review that document and had lots of interesting thoughts on the document. I talked to Peggy, and we know that it's a perspective, but maybe not the entire perspective. So I was just wondering the status of that document and if there was an opportunity for us to provide feedback to that document, or what help that you needed, if at all, from the advisory board.
So this is Greta. I'll go ahead and take this one. We are currently reviewing that. As you know, it was several hundred pages with a lot of information in there. At the last State Board of Education meeting, there was a lot of conversation around that. Some of the recommendations were very good ones. Some of the recommendations appeared to be limited on the amount of information that maybe the auditor's office received, and so some of them has opportunity for additional information to be provided for clarification because they may not have appeared to be completely accurate at first glance. It was also presented this week at the interim joint meeting at the legislature. They are reviewing it. We have, as offices, we're looking at each of our recommendations per offices, sending any clarifying information back. And we're currently nearing the end of that. I think it was the 60-day review window or something that we had to take a look at it and provide feedback. So we're doing that and obviously taking it very seriously and looking at what recommendations we need to implement and then what we may need to connect with the auditor's office.
I guess from the outside in, I read the entire document, and with the limited information that I saw, some of the items did seem concerning to me, and obviously I feel like maybe the information was complete, but it was concerning enough to where I wanted to raise just that awareness, and I was just curious to understand what next steps look like, or what that dialogue would look like after you sort of contemplate the recommendations you want to make. You know, is there a place for us to sit down and understand what those look like?
Yeah, and you know, the advisory board is charged with providing advice to the Commissioner of Education. So I think it's a very reasonable task for this group to review it. Take into consideration any recommendations that you'd like to make to the Commissioner of Education and provide those. I think there's actually some language in there about the advisory board, could really do a better job at providing recommendations to the Commissioner. And so that's set out, not only in bylaws, but, also in this report, and that's just a function of the board. So absolutely. Please take it seriously. As the agency develops their responses, I'm sure that'll be out there and be available. Right now we're looking at those by office, but it's nearing the window where there'll be an agency-wide type of response.
So if I was to do the math right, that information should get back to the audit team by August 30th, is that right? Or September 1, that's 60 days?
I need to look, yeah, I think it's July 1. Yeah, so, that seems reasonable.
So I think the reason for our advisory board's pause at providing information back was the sensitivity that you guys were doing your homework. And we did not want to be premature to say, help us understand this, or what did this mean? Because the information that I received, at least when I talked to Peggy, was that you guys were working on some stuff. So help me understand the process. At September 1, the information is provided back to the audit team. What happens after that?
Honestly, I don't know. Okay. That's a situation where I don't know what the auditor will do, and I think we're probably out of control when it comes to that. She may decide to make some changes, she may not, but that's going to be at the discretion of the auditor. Okay. And, if you remember, this came to us from a legislative mandate. Yep. So we got this from the previous legislation. The department paid for it, I think $1.2 million. So we spent a lot of time and money and energy into this and took it very seriously and continue to take it very seriously. So, it could be that the auditor does something with it. It could be that the upcoming session, the legislature does something with it instead of their report to begin with. But obviously, as I mentioned, we're reviewing it, taking into consideration what's accurate, what recommendations we need to make, and then what information we need to provide back to the auditor.
Okay. That sounds similar to, in my days, doing corporate audit. So I was just curious as to the process. So as far as outcomes of that meeting or those discussions that the auditor takes forward, how is that information generally shared and communicated to the public? Or how will we, the advisory board, receive that information?
From the auditor, I don't know, I can't
Okay.
speak on behalf of the auditor.
The document, that 100-page document, I received just inadvertently through an alumni. Because it had our names in it as well as the advisory board, I was wondering if that could have been distributed by somebody on your team to us to receive.
The audit report,
Mm-hmm.
I think it came to us through the public. I mean, it's publicly available. It's
Yeah.
out there. Anybody can.
Yeah, I guess I
receive
don't.
it.
As an advisory board member and speaking on behalf of my members, I'm not sure if we peruse all the announcements because it's it's not our daily affair or job. So, is there a way for us to, if a document like that and the importance of that document, and because it does have our names in the document, or at least the name of our board in that document, I just was wondering how we could potentially, like similar to the document from Melody that said, hey, there's 6 or 7 items here, we want you to review. This was another document that you and I received over summer that I think you
Policy
might.
update.
Yep. So that was a great way to say, hey, we want your feedback on this. Could we get your feedback? This is a document that maybe pertains to your group, or we would appreciate that. So in similar context, I was just hoping, instead of inadvertently coming across this document, and to be honest, I do get the updates from the Board of Education. It's a link that, I get like 10 links a day and I don't read them. Just because this is a volunteer role and I'm not sure if members on my board have the time to read all those. So I guess in big important documents, my request would be, can we partner and collaborate on that to get that, like Shannon provided me or Melody provided that document? Could we get something like this in the future? It's an ask.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's we can, I guess like big important documents, you mean like if a final report comes out
Sure.
or something from the auditor's office comes out that pertains to KSB and
Yep.
we share that? Yeah, I don't have any problem at all.
Okay.
This is Janelle. Anybody can sign up for the communications emails,
Absolutely.
right? Because I also saw it on there.
Yeah, on the, we can get you that, dear. And we can
I have that, and I think that was part of my issue, is that it was an inundation of communication, and to go through all of those that felt pertinent to me in this role was overwhelming. So my only ask is just to share the things that you think are probably most important.
Okay. That may be, so probably what we'll do is we will look at things like from Gov delivery and then forward those on. I will add, just as an FYI, if you haven't seen the interim joint meeting last week, special education was brought up by name, so they are taking that very seriously. The role of the advisory board was mentioned in front of the interim joint committee on education, so they're taking that very seriously. We also take this very seriously, and the commissioner does as well. So. We welcome any feedback that the board has.
Will the commissioner plan to attend these meetings this year, like he did attend last year? Because he does take this seriously.
He does take it.
Okay. So we are setting dates. Those will be noted, I guess, on his calendar, maybe prioritized. All right. Shannon, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. New business. There are two items that I had for new business, and I think we've kind of talked a little bit about this, but the first was setting board dates for 2025, 2026. Tricia, I thought we could do it one of two ways, and I'm open to either. One, we could just make recommended dates today based upon last year's calendar-ish. We know the cadence that works for this group and the timing. The second, we could try to do something offline But I'm just concerned if we do it offline, maybe we won't get that task completed. But yeah, I turn to you to sort of help me out.
Would you want to take time to look at your calendars as members today, or would you like an immediate online option after the meeting?
This is Janelle. It works well for me if we can just have it planned out like we have been. So every quarter, just an example, like every third Thursday, whatever day of the week, because then I can plan around it.
Okay.
But that's just me.
I think that worked well for me last year, but I want to hear from the rest of the board. Carla, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'd like for us to spend it, and I agree with you now. I think if it's consistently, you know, the Thursday of the first month of the quarter, or the second month of the quarter, something like that.
Okay.
It does make it easier to make sure that you don't schedule something over it in the room.
So today will be the third Thursday.
This is the third Thursday.
Right. So it's the third Thursday of the quarter. Is it reasonable to start with?
Third Thursday of the second month of the quarter.
Second month.
So that would take us to, I think, November 20th, which I don't know what is Thanksgiving, etc.
It's the week prior.
Thanksgiving's the 27th, so.
We could do the 13th to be safe, or we could do it on the 4th when we get back in December.
11:43 a.m. 2 notifications. Flashlight. 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 11. Screen lock.
I cannot get it to shut up. Sorry. Every time there's an update, something goes wrong. It stops working.
So the 20th is the week prior to this is Trisha. The week prior to Thanksgiving, holiday on the 27th. So that would be the 20th. If you wanted to follow the third Thursday in December, it would be that 18th. But that would be the second.
Just thinking of the months, the quarters, the end of 25 and 26. If we did the third Thursday of the third month, that would be December, March, June.
So I know that third Thursday, if it was in December,
Yeah,
that's
when we have the Christmas.
Yeah.
musicals and things and.
Right.
Well, I would say let's contemplate November 20th at 11 a.m. And then if we were to go 3 months after that, let's contemplate February 19th. And if we were to go 3 months after that, let's contemplate May 14th. Or excuse me, May 21. And I think my only concern would be that November date, but it's a week before sort of formal Thanksgiving week, so I think we should be okay.
There's no school the following week.
Right.
I will have a hard time with that 20 days.
Okay.
Because that's the first day of the Kentucky Council of Wine State Convention. And I'm the treasurer, so I do the registration.
Well, we could do
But,
you want to do December 4 then? The week after?
actually, we're trying to make it work. I don't have to open registration that morning.
I see, on the 20th.
So,
Okay.
I'm just saying it might get a little tough, but.
This is Janelle. I would be open to another day other than Thursday, if that would work better. It's just mainly getting it scheduled.
Right, doing it right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with the 20th. Is that when your other event starts on the 20th, or is it the week of that?
No, starts on the 20th.
Okay, so what if I think, that might be a good idea. You want to look at maybe the 18th, which is a Tuesday?
I can make that work.
Okay. Well, let's do that then.
Tuesday.
November 18th.
Tuesday, November 18th.
Okay. And then we'll do February 19th and May 21 as of now.
Or could we just make the other days Tuesdays?
Do that.
We just meet on a Tuesday.
As laborious as this is, it's a lot better than doing it over text, I promise you.
It's awful when you try to do it by email.
So we could do February, if we want to do it Tuesdays, then we would do the other one on February 17th and then May 19th. Then let's keep that one the 19th. And then for May, and then for May we could keep that as the 21st.
Don't have it on my calendar, I have a master calendar, but that might be the last day of school.
Okay. So we could do the 19th then.
Graduation would be earlier that week. Right?
Closing day is the 22nd.
Okay.
So the 21st is the last day of school.
Okay. Let's do the 19th then, is that all right? Okay. All right, Tricia. So now that
Does election day have anything, it wouldn't impact us at all, right? For school and all that.
Yes, it will.
So like I said, 19% election day.
You know what, we won't have kids that day.
Okay. 18th
day.
The 18th available? Okay, let's do the 18th.
So Monday, May 18th.
So we're going to go November 18th, February 17th.
Oh, and school key has 9 on it.
No, 19th, February 19th. And then May 18th. Okay. So we totally didn't achieve Carla. But we can prove that we can still do stuff in person instead of text message. So that's awesome. All right. The other item that I had was as part of our advisory board duties is to vote. And my understanding of the advisory board duties as far as voting is that the president and the secretary role can be renewed for up to 2 years. Tricia and I have completed 1 year, and so the vote is required for each of us for the next year. So I can hand this over to you. I don't think Peggy or Tricia, do you want to? I think it's just a vote. We have to raise hands at the board.
So the discussion to do that.
Who wants to run for?
Right, if we would like to continue.
Exactly.
We can voice that, and if someone else would like to take over, any of those two positions.
Yes.
Would you now to,
Who is interested in the, right, well, I guess, yeah, that's the first question, is that,
I would
let's
be-
start with secretary.
I would be fine to continue the role of the secretary.
Okay.
I would also request for someone who has her heart in it.
Why do you keep looking at me?
I'm just kind of scanning the room. So I'm fine with maintaining it, but for the will.
Yeah, I'm just reading the language that I remember this from. It says, a chair shall serve a one-year term and shall not be eligible to serve more than 2 years consecutively as chair. So the information that we received from legal back when we had that meeting was that you could do it years 1, 2, and 4, but you can't do it more than 2. Secretary shall serve a one-year term and should not be eligible to serve more than 2 consecutively as secretary. So, yeah,
Someone else would be.
after the season. Yep. All right. Well, are there any other people interested in the role of secretary on our advisory board? Okay. All right. This may be an easy vote, then we'll have to go through the formal process, Tricia, of voting for you for secretary. All in favor of Tricia for secretary? Aye. Alright, Tricia, we shall note that the board, all board members present voted in favor.
I didn't hear you.
Aye. Yes.
Okay.
We can.
All in favor?
Alright, the next role is for president. Is there anyone else interested in the president role for this year? Okay. I'd like to be honored to serve in another year. And so I will put my name forward as president, and I think we then need to vote as a board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the majority, and I think that's thank you. I think then we shall. Yep. So that this has to be done every calendar year. So this time next year we shall have new elections, and there will be 2 new people for both president and secretary. Okay, those are the 2 items I had. All right, we'll move on to board recommendations. I did not receive any board recommendations. Shannon, you and I can speak. I forgot to touch base with you this summer, so we can talk offline about the item that I was on vacation and I think I was sick, but there's an item that we needed to talk about. So don't worry, I remember it and we can talk offline on that. But there wasn't anything on behalf that I received from the board as far as recommendations. So no item there for me. But Tricia, do you have something?
I was going to ask about the tactile graphic that we had tried to help support new teachers as well as others. First would be Kentucky School for the Blind faculty and staff to have access to a resource room that would help enhance that. Our other thought was that it possibly could be a transition experience for students to help in this area because it could be a good experience. It could also lead to job enhancement experiences with pre-employment condition services. We had brought in the University of Kentucky via program had classes here. We had attended the tactographic classes that the Kentucky School for the Blind teachers and others attended to see. The University of Kentucky had said that they felt like that could be an improvement in the area for access. Then outreach could also use it to make things for across the state. So there were several entities that were involved in the creation and development of the idea. Items have been purchased. We just need, with all the great updates in the facilities, where might that location be as an option? It might not be a decision for today, but we'd like to bring it up formally to help support the Kentucky. And remember, having that conversation when Peggy was the director of outreach and having that as an option. I know certain classrooms have some additions that they've been using that to Braille or other things, but what could we do to help support? So I don't know if that would be I think a formal continuation of the discussion or I don't know, I just didn't want it to drop off the radar for the school year.
I think from my end, I would have to identify a location. If I remember correctly, we discussed one possible area, but I have to make that area a classroom. So, for students. So, we have to look at what space we have.
Is Evans building an option? That was in the discussion.
I don't know the answer to that. Once everything's set up, I'll have to go through and look. There is the consideration that some of the students, middle and high school, will move over to Evans and it's studying, and that the elementary kiddos will stay in Hauser. So kind of looking, once everything's kind of set up, taking a look to see available space.
And I think we can make that work. We can find a spot.
I think I'll just make note of it and we'll just get an update like we're doing with some of the other items in 90 days and see where we end up with that. Okay. Alright, I wanted to move to public comment. I did not receive anything before the meeting, but Kirsten, I did notice, okay, you're okay. Okay, Kenny? Good? Okay. Alright, nothing else for public comment. And so we can officially adjourn. It's 11:58. We can consider the meeting closed. And our next meeting is now scheduled for November the 18th at 11 a.m. Alright, thank you.